I used to work late-night shifts at a local warehouse just outside the town of Boone, North Carolina. It was the kind of job that paid decently but robbed you of sunlight and normal social hours. My shifts usually ended at around 2 a.m., and I had a 40-minute drive home, twisting mountain roads, barely lit, the kind that always felt a little too empty. One Friday night, or I guess Saturday morning, I clocked out like usual, grabbed a gas station coffee, and started the drive back to my apartment nestled in a quiet neighborhood on the edge of a small forest. It was cold out, early March, and a thin mist curled along the asphalt like it was alive. I live alone, just me and my aging border collie, Ranger. When I finally got home, it was 2:45 a.m. I parked under the single streetlight in our cul-de-sac and walked toward my porch. That's when I saw him. A man, standing completely still right by my backyard fence. He wasn't moving, just standing, facing the house. At first I thought maybe it was a neighbor, someone's drunk uncle stumbling around, or a late-night walker who lost their way. But the way he stood, arms at his sides, not swaying, not shuffling, it didn't feel human. I froze on my porch. "Hey!" I called out, instantly regretting breaking the silence. No response. He didn't even flinch, just kept staring at my house and by the angle of his head, possibly my bedroom window. I slowly unlocked my door, kept watching him over my shoulder. The door creaked open and Ranger came trotting up, tail wagging like it was any other night. I quickly pulled him inside and shut the door behind me. I peeked out through the curtains from my living room window. He was gone. I told myself it was nothing. Maybe I imagined it. Maybe the mist played tricks. Maybe I was tired. But then I found footprints the next morning, deep in the muddy grass behind my fence. Large, boot-shaped, going in a straight line from the woods to my backyard, and then back again. They weren't just vague impressions, they were fresh, detailed, deep heel marks, clear treads. Someone had definitely been out there last night, and they had come from the woods. The thing is, those woods back behind my house, they run for miles, dense and unmaintained. No trails, no reason for anyone to be out there, especially not at 3 a.m. That afternoon, I called the non-emergency police line. A deputy came out, had a look, and shrugged it off. Could have been a lost hiker, or a local cutting through. Doesn't look like he broke in. Just keep your lights on at night. That was all he said. I tried to brush it off, told myself it was a one-time thing. That night I turned on all the outdoor floodlights, made sure the blinds were shut tight, and slept with Ranger curled up beside the bed. 2 nights later, it happened again. I woke up at exactly 3:12 a.m. because Ranger started growling, not barking, growling low and deep like I've never heard before. I sat up, heart already racing. He was standing at the bedroom window, ears forward, tail rigid. I didn't want to look, I really didn't, but I forced myself to get up and move beside him. I slowly parted the curtain, just a few inches, and there he was, standing in the same place by the fence. Exactly the same, still, unmoving. But this time, there was another figure, not as tall but definitely a person, also completely still, just standing beside him. They weren't looking at the house this time, they were looking at each other. I stepped back from the curtain like I'd touched a live wire. My body went cold. Every hair on my arms and neck stood up. Ranger started barking, aggressively this time, and I turned off the bedroom light, moved back from the window. I didn't sleep after that. I just sat in the living room with the lights off and a baseball bat in my lap, listening, waiting, wondering if they were going to come closer this time. When the sun finally came up, I went out to check the yard. 2 sets of footprints, both coming from the woods. Neither set returned. I didn't leave my house the entire day. The 2 sets of footprints, they never turned back. That meant they were still out there, somewhere in the woods, possibly watching, hiding, waiting. I made myself coffee and left it untouched. My stomach twisted at the smell. Ranger didn't eat either. He kept pacing to the back window, growling, tail low, ears flicking. Dogs sense things we don't. I always believed that. I called my brother that morning, told him I thought someone was messing with me. He offered to drive over. He lives 2 hours away, but I told him no. I didn't want to sound paranoid, and part of me still thought this was a weird coincidence. Two weirdos wandering out of the woods didn't mean I was being targeted. That night, I went full fortress mode. Blinds drawn tight, doors locked, every light on. I kept the bat next to my bed and tucked a pocket knife under the mattress. I even brought Ranger's dog bed into the bedroom so he'd stay close. I didn't care if I looked crazy. I needed the comfort. By midnight, the house was quiet, too quiet. I kept staring at the digital clock next to my bed. 1 Jazz, 2 I, 3:06. And then, like clockwork, at 3:12 a.m., Ranger began to growl. Not at the window this time. At the front door, I jolted upright, heart pounding. I froze in place as Ranger slowly crept toward the hallway, growling louder, more aggressive. I tiptoed behind him, staying in the shadows. I could see the hallway lit by the porch light filtering through the frosted glass of the front door. And then 3 slow knocks. Knock, knock, knock. No doorbell, no voice, just knocks, even and deliberate. I felt my skin go cold. Ranger began barking now, louder than I'd ever heard. I grabbed my phone, already dialing 911, when a voice from the other side of the door said something I'll never forget. "Hey man, I think your dog's out. Looks like he ran into the woods." That wasn't my dog outside. Ranger was standing right in front of me, barking, furious. "Come out and help me look, it's cold out here." His voice was calm, too calm, like someone rehearsing lines. Not worried, not urgent, just flat, like he wanted me to come out. I backed up, slowly. The operator picked up, and I whispered everything as quickly as I could. The dispatcher stayed calm, said they were sending deputies, and told me to stay on the line. That's when I saw it. A shadow moved past the frosted glass window. Not one, 2 shadows. They were standing on either side of the door now. My heart nearly stopped. I whispered to the dispatcher, "There's 2 of them now." She said help was 5 minutes out. That was the longest 5 minutes of my life. The knocking stopped. The voices stopped. But the footsteps, they didn't. I heard them moving around the porch, then around the house. One of them tried the side door. Then I heard tapping on the windows, all around the house, like they were checking each one. I went into the bathroom, locked the door, and stayed on the phone. Ranger came in with me, still growling. I sat in the tub, holding my bat like a lifeline. And then silence, complete silence, for about a minute, until the sound of breaking glass came from the living room. The sound of breaking glass hit me like a gunshot. My breath caught in my throat. I froze, phone clutched in my hand as Ranger barked like he was ready to kill. The dispatcher's voice kept whispering in my ear, "Stay calm, stay quiet. Officers are almost there." But I couldn't hear anything else, just the shattering sound echoing in my ears. I waited. Maybe they'd make more noise. Maybe I could hear footsteps again. Maybe... Then I heard it. Creak. The unmistakable sound of a foot on my wooden floor. Someone was inside. They'd broken the window next to the back door and unlocked it. I turned off my phone screen and held my breath. Ranger stopped barking, his head tilted, ears perked. He knew someone was in the house. We both did. I could hear them moving. Slow steps, then whispering. Not to me, to each other. 2 voices, one low and raspy, the other almost childlike, muffled but close. They were talking to each other like they were playing a game, like it was fun. "She's hiding." "No, he has a dog." Stupid little dog. I wanted to throw up. I gripped the bat tighter and prayed they'd go away. But they didn't. Instead, I heard the closet in the hallway open, then my bedroom door creak. They were searching and coming closer. Ranger started growling again, low and vibrating. He stood in front of the bathroom door like a shield. I could hear footsteps crossing into the hallway. They were just feet away now. That's when the bathroom doorknob moved. Slowly, turning, jiggling, then stopping. One of them laughed. It was a giggle, high-pitched and unnatural, like someone mocking a child. Then I heard, "You locked it?" Not for long. They banged on the door, once, twice, then silence again. That silence was worse than the sound. My phone buzzed quietly in my hand. Text message from my neighbor. "Cops just pulled into the driveway." That's when I heard them running, heavy footsteps sprinting across the hardwood toward the back door. A minute later, the dispatcher confirmed, "Officers are at your door. Stay where you are until they identify themselves." I waited, barely breathing, until I heard an officer yell, "Sheriff's Department, come out with your hands up." I opened the bathroom door, bat still in hand, and stepped out slowly. 2 deputies with flashlights and guns drawn stood in the hallway. They told me to drop the bat and raise my hands. I did. Then I saw it. The glass pane on the back door was shattered. Footprints on the kitchen floor, mud tracked in all the way to the bathroom door. But no sign of them. The house was empty. The officers swept every room, every closet, even the attic. Nothing. They were gone. What happened after? The sheriff told me they must have run out the back the moment they heard sirens, but I knew they'd been watching long before that, maybe even days, maybe since the first night. The weirdest part? Nothing was stolen, no drawers opened, no electronics touched, nothing disturbed except me. They didn't want money, they wanted fear. One officer looked me dead in the eyes and said, "They'll come back if they think it worked." That night, I left and stayed at my brother's place 2 towns over. I didn't go home for over a week. When I finally returned, I changed the locks, bought a security system, cameras, the whole setup. But sometimes, I still hear that knock, that same slow 3 knocks on the door.